as we continue to look at being free in 2023. We've already seen so many things that God has set us free from. Most important, of course, being free from the penalty of sin. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God, and the wages of sin is what? Eternal death. And that lays over us. And what can we do to pay that off? What can we do to reverse that? Absolutely nothing. Jesus did it all. He did it all on the cross. He died for us, paid the penalty for our sin. All we have to do then is believe. Accept that gift. And then that burden is lifted off. But then we still fight with sin, don't we? And has He set us free from the power of sin too? Yes. If you've got a temptation, if you've got a sin that overwhelms you and continually has a grip on you, go to Him. Will He set you free? Will He help you all along the way? And will we still make mistakes? Anybody perfect here yet? Just checking. Anybody? Nobody's perfect. No, we're still going to make those sins. We're still going to stumble at times. But He also then frees us from the guilt, doesn't He? All we have to do is go, and if we ask His forgiveness, He will forgive us. 1 time? 2 times? 5 times? 100 times? 1,000 times? 10,000 times? 30,000 times? I'm looking at you, Raj. Nope. Doesn't matter how many times, does it? He will forgive us and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. That's His promise. And lift that guilt off. That we don't have to carry that around anymore. But we've also seen we can be free from fear, can't we? Free of the foes, free of the floods, free of all the things of pressure. Also free from worry. How many worry warts we got here today? It does. It's on us. It's part of us. We're human beings. And the worry can overwhelm us. But who can set us free from that worry? All we have to do is go to Him. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, through prayer, with thanksgiving, do what? Make your requests known to God, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind. It'll give peace to your mind, peace to your heart, if you will just give that to Him. All of these things, He says, I will set you free. We just need to go to Him, right? And today we're going to look at another one, and that's anger. What gets your dander up? Anybody ever heard that phrase before? What gets your dander? The old people here. Yay! What gets just in the pit of your stomach, just the rage, the anger comes to you. Now, some of them we've already actually looked at. How many, when you feel threatened, get a little angry? You feel like you are threatened. You feel like the enemy's winning. You feel like, you're in a tough spot, in a tough situation. And fear how many times does fear lead to anger? Yeah. Well, we have a remedy for that. Give the fear to whom? Give the fear to God, and then you have nothing to fear, and therefore you can let the anger what? Go. How many times does worry? You don't have what you need. You don't have what you deserve. You're frustrated. Things aren't happening the way you want to, and you get what? Get angry. We have a remedy for that one too. And what was that one again? Give the worry to who? Give it to God. The worry goes away, and then what? The anger can go away. But there's so many other reasons to be angry. We find so many ways, don't we? How many get angry when you see it looks like the enemy is winning? You see out there and you see sin just keeps growing and growing and more acceptable in our society, and people out there just promoting it with left hand and right hand, just throwing it out there, and it just keeps growing and growing. How many does that just make you angry? Yeah. How many does it make you angry when you see injustice? People being treated poorly, unfairly. It just makes you angry. It makes you angry when somebody disagrees with your opinion. Which is the dumbest of all? Let's face fact. Some of the worst fights I've ever seen amongst kids at this church have been over stupid stuff like, who is the best running back in football history? Which is purely what? Opinion. Oh, the hate and the anger. How dare somebody think anybody other than Emmitt Smith? We always had those Cowboys people here. They're freaks, but we allow them here anyways. No, just the anger when somebody disagrees with you, something posts somebody on Facebook that you disagree with, and the anger, just, how dare they think that? And it just can overwhelm us, can't it? The anger. Or somebody did something wrong to you. You feel wrong. Somebody talked about you behind your back. Somebody hurt you. And what can overwhelm you? Anger. Now, that's not good. Anger is not good. Again and again, the Bible tells us that we need to put aside that anger. We need to let go of the anger. And again, as I've always said, if the Bible tells us we should, then we can. Not on our own. Don't make a New Year's resolution, I will not get angry at one time this year. Don't do that. But instead, who can we go to help us get rid of that anger? Because it does no good. It leads to things that are what? Destructive. In fact, let's go start with Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26, and see this instruction from the Apostle Paul. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. And I love the way he starts. Ephesians 4:26, be ye angry. There's a commandment I can get behind. That's right. Put that on your wall. Be ye angry all the time. That's not what it says. We can be angry. In fact, we can have a righteous anger. Should it make us angry when there is injustice? Should it make us angry when people are in sin and sin is being promoted? Should it make us angry when people oppose God and say terrible things about it? Yes, it's okay to be angry with a righteous anger, but it does not say be ye angry all the time. In fact, he says, be angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. So yes, you can get a little angry, you can get a little upset, you can get a little frustrated, you can be a little, but you have to what? Learn to let it go. Then let it go. Don't let the sun go down on that anger. Don't dwell on it, because when you start dwelling on anger, it leads to sin. It leads to real problems. In fact, look at verse 31. Same chapter. Ephesians 4, he goes on to say, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. This is our goal. Get those things out of your life. Now, this is Paul talking, right? The Apostle Paul. And you can sit there and say, what does Paul know? He didn't have to go through what I got to go through. He doesn't have the same kind of injustice I've seen. He hasn't been wrong like I've been wrong. No. Who is Apostle Paul again? Who could Paul rightfully be angry at? Everybody. You realize how many times Paul was wronged by his own people? His own people tried to kill him. His former friends tried to kill him. Even people in the church were saying nasty things about him. The whole book of 2 Corinthians is all about that. All these people say nasty things about him, accusing this, accusing that. He could be angry at all of them. He could be angry at his friends. He could be angry at Mark because he refused to go with them. He could be angry at Barnabas because he took him anyways. He could be angry with the apostles because they didn't back him up sometimes. He could be angry. He could be angry at everybody, but what does he say? Don't let this... My watch. He likes to tell me things. The reality of the matter is, he did not let the sun go down on his anger. He learned to let it go. He learned to set aside the bitterness that can often well up inside of us and dwell in our soul. To get rid of the wrath and the anger. And just let it go. Because what good is it? Nobody on their deathbed is going to say, I should have been angry more. I should have had more days just where I just went enraged at everybody. More times that I should have just had that gut feeling of just tightness all day because I was just so angry. Those were the good days. Nobody's going to say that. No, it doesn't make anything better. Let go. Or else it will lead to sin, won't it? In fact, let's take a look at a few places. He says there in Ephesians to put away things. Put away the clamor and the evil speaking. And let's look at a couple of spots. Let's go to Luke chapter 6. We need to put away the hate. It has become almost acceptable, encouraged. Sometimes even in the church. You should hate certain people. You should hate them with a passion. Not want to talk to them, not want to be around them, not want to deal with them. You should hate them. I dare you to find a single verse in the Bible that backs that up. In fact, what does the Bible say? Don't hate. Don't hate. Don't hate anybody. What if they're wrong? Well, they're wrong. Don't hate. Don't let that anger overwhelm you. In fact, what does Jesus teach here in Luke chapter 6, verse 27? Oops. I was over one chapter. Chapter 6, verse 26. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. Now, I wanted to start there because don't think that the whole purpose here is to make everybody love you. In fact, he says, woe unto you if everybody loves you. I do not want there ever to be a time in the United States where everybody just loves the church. Why? Because there's never going to be a time when everybody's a Christian. And if everybody just loves the church, that means we're not what? We're not telling the truth. So, yes, we're going to have opposition. People are going to hate us. People are going to oppose us. Satan's always going to be out there. Woe unto you if everybody agrees with you. Look at verse 27. But I say unto you, which hear, if you're going to listen, love your enemies. Say what? You lost me already. I'm supposed to love them, but they oppose you, right, God? They oppose the truth, don't they? They hate me because I love you, and I'm supposed to love them. The answer is yes. It can get worse, folks. Look at the next part. Do good. What? Now, wait a minute. Do good to them which hate you. The world will hate you. The world will despise you. They will hate everything you stand for because you stand for Christ. That will happen. And you're supposed to what? Love them and then actively go out and show them that love. Okay, I'm willing to sit in my room, at my house, on my couch, watching TV, saying I love everybody, but I'm not going to get out there and do good to them. They don't deserve it. God doesn't care. Do good to them. Oh, wait a minute. There's even more. You ready? Verse 28. Bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. Right? And I'm sure that prayer means pray for their ultimate destruction, right? Pray for them to have, all kinds of disease and all kinds of terrible things. No. Pray for them. Pray for their soul. Pray for them to get saved. Pray for God to intervene in their life. Pray for the best for them. That is the response to the anger that we feel when those people oppose us. Love them. Love them. Do good to them. Bless them. Pray for them. And what if it gets physical? Verse 29. And unto him that smiteth thee on the one cheek, offer also the other. And him that taketh away thy cloak, forbid not to take thy coat also. Hey, again, this isn't about us. You say, oh, they offended me, an eye for an eye. That's my motto. No. It's not what the Bible's talking about. If somebody hits you on the cheek, what do? Turn to the other cheek. What if they hit that one? Turn the other cheek. That one, turn the other cheek. Who's winning? You're winning. God is winning because love wins. Because if all you're going to do is get back at them, what's the problem? It's not going to end well. Verse 30, give to every man that asketh of thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask them not again. You say, wait a minute, they're taking my stuff. They're taking this, they're taking that. These old things, these things I have earned, these things that I deserve, these things. Don't you remember there was somewhere we learned about we should never worry about things because God will take care of everything? Once you get that attitude right, does it matter what they take? No. Because what? It'll be okay, won't it? Don't hate. Don't hate. Put away hate and put on what? Love. That's what God says. Verse 31. And as you would that men should do to you, do you also to them likewise. Known as the golden rule, right? And when you harm somebody, do you want them to harm you? Or do you want them to forgive you? Do you want them to be patient? What do you want? How do you want to be treated? Treat everybody that way. Whether they're your enemy or not, whether you agree with them or not, on any area of life, it doesn't matter. Love them. For if you love them which love you, what thank have you? For sinners also love those that love them. So what's the big deal? I love people who think like me, act like me, and talk like me, think like me. Aren't I a wonderful Christian? No. No. Sinners can do that. Horrible, horrible people. The worst people in history have been able to do that. Of course, when you disagree with them, then they kill you. But, still. They love you as long as you love them. That's not God's way, is it? That's mankind's way. So, what do we have to do? We can be free when we learn to love. Get rid of the hate. Get rid of the anger. And instead love, be loving, bless and pray for them. Let go. What about vengeance? That sounds fun, doesn't it? Romans chapter 12. Eye for an eye and tooth for tooth, right? Somebody does something to disrespect me. Somebody does something to hurt me, hurt my family. I want what? I want my pound of flesh. I want vengeance. I want it to set it right. Can you find anywhere in the Bible where it says setting it right is getting back? That's not how you set things right. In fact, what does he teach here? Again, this is Paul, and Paul, a guy who knows something about people hurting him. A man who was stoned to death. He got better. Thrown in prison wrongfully. Beaten wrongfully. Never did anything wrong, yet continued to be beaten and thrown in jail and chased and killed. I mean, that's his life. Yet he says what? You want to be set free? Romans chapter 12, starting in verse 17. Recompense, repay to no man evil for evil. If somebody does something evil to you, you don't do evil back. God's answer is never evil. God's answer is never do what is wrong. His answer is always do what is right. Repay to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest, true, in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. If it's up to you, you will live with everybody. It doesn't matter what they've done in the past, what they think now, what it is. It is up to you, you live peaceably. Now, the other person may still hate you. The other person still may harm you, but as far as you're concerned, you're at peace. You will talk to them, you will love them, you will go bowling with them, you will do anything. It's okay, we're all right. This is not easy, but it can be done, can it? Dearly beloved, verse 19, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Whose job is it to disperse justice? And sometimes God will use government. But it's his job, right? Not our job. I've given this example many times. I give it to the kids all the time. If somebody on Monday at school or at work or in your family says something against you and hurt you, and you think about that all week, how you're going to get back at them, how you are going to make their life miserable, how you are going to hurt them, and on Friday, you do it. You hurt them. And then, what are they going to do? Then they're going to hurt you back. And you dwell on that. And months go by, and years go by, and you just keep going after each other and thinking about it and never letting it go. And how long have they hurt you? However long you let this thing go. But if on Monday they hurt you, and then on Tuesday you have let it go, how long have they hurt you? So God says there's a better way, isn't there? The better way is say, Lord, you take care of it. I'm going to let you handle it. I'm going to trust you. It's not always easy. I'm going to just trust you. And I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to try to get back at them. I'm going to let it go right here. Verse 20, therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. Don't get back at him. Help him. Feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap whole coals of fire on his head. There's all kinds of ways to interpret that. But in the end, the answer to that interpretation is, God said so, therefore it's right. And will he take care of it? Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. Somebody gets in your face, somebody yells at you, somebody posts something on Facebook, somebody does something like that. You know the best thing to come back to them with? Just the truth. God loves you. I love you too. That's the best way. Somebody disagrees with you, hurts you, says something about you, what do? Let it go. Put away vengeance and desire to get back, and instead put on what? Blessing. Bless you. What can they do then? Oh, they can hurt me again. They were going to do that anyways. So, but what's your hope at the end of the day? But they'll come to your side. They'll come to God's side, right? Show them love, and eventually they'll get bored. Let go and bless. And finally, grudges. How long can you hold a grudge? How old am I? All right. How many right now can think of something that happened to you in elementary school that you're still not over with? Still think about that person. Still every once in a while, I was like, oh, I wonder what's happened to them. I hope their life was miserable. Is that good? Are grudges good? It's like a cancer. It really is. I mean, it may even give you ulcers. You hold on too long. I know people that they've held on so long, and the families that won't talk to them for years and years and years, they just will not give up on it because of something that happened. How many have ever known somebody who was still holding a grudge and can't remember why? All I remember is they did something to me. They said something, I'm not sure what it was, but it was awful. Is that what we're supposed to be doing? No. All it leads to is anger and hate and vengeance and grudges. Is not the way to go, is it? In fact, what is the way to go? Let's go to Matthew chapter 6. Many places to go with this, but I thought we'd go to the Lord's Prayer. Everybody know how the Lord's Prayer goes? Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. By the way, when you pray thy will, that's for you too. And what is his will when it comes to anger and wrath and hate and bitterness and grudges? What's his will? Let go. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. That one part about forgiving others is so important that Jesus, after the prayer, said, let me explain. Verse 14. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespass. You want to be right with God? You want God to forgive you and cleanse you from all unrighteousness? You got to learn to what? Forgive others. Because he knows how bad this is. When we refuse to forgive, when we refuse to let go, and we just hold on to those grudges, nothing good will happen to that. Not good for us, not good for them, not good for society. It's not good. He says what? Let go. Forgive them. Put away grudges and put on what? How many times, though? Come on now, let's be honest. 7 times. That sound fair? 7 times they come to me, they do the same stupid thing, same harmful thing. 7's good, right? It's a nice round number, godly number, 7 days of creation, like 7. What did Jesus say? 70 times 7. And that's just so big. You're not supposed to keep it track. Nobody keep it. Nobody keep the diary at home, especially you husbands and wives. That's number 486. Nope. About to get it. No. In other words, what? Let it go. Every time. Because it's not good for you. It's not good. It just leads to sin. Leads to anger. Leads to bitterness. Leads to wrath. He says what? Let it go. Put away grudges. Put away this idea that I need to get back at them. Put away the hate. And instead put on love and blessing and forgiveness. In other words, be like who? Isn't that what Jesus did? Let's go to Ephesians chapter 5. One of the many, many great things about Jesus is that we know that we have a God who understands what we go through. So yeah, he is God, and if he just from on high just said you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't take vengeance, you shouldn't hate, you shouldn't take grudges, maybe we could say, but you don't understand. You've never lived with these people. You've never been harmed like I've been harmed. You never had to deal with all this stuff I've got to deal with. But in Jesus Christ, we know that he did, didn't he? How many would agree he had enemies? People actively trying to make his life miserable, who actually killed him. How many would agree there are people that he could have taken vengeance on? How many would agree there's some people he could hold some grudges against? Even some of his close friends like Peter. Could he have held that grudge? How dare you? I told you. Not that you were going to deny me 3 times and you did it anyways? No, I'm never forgiving that. But is that what Jesus did? Did Jesus hate? Did Jesus take vengeance? Did Jesus hold grudges? No, look at Ephesians chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Be therefore followers of God as dear children, and walk in what? Love. As Christ also hath loved us, and hath given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling savor. See, what Jesus did is instead he gave us an example of what we need to do. He didn't hold on to hate. Instead, he loved. Who did he love? Everyone. Even those that opposed him, even though he still said, what? I love you. In fact, I will die for you. Even those who hurt him, those people that beat on him, those people who put thorns on his head, all of those. In fact, what did he say on the cross? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Is that holding on to vengeance? No. Is that holding on to grudges? No. That's what? Letting go. And he died for everybody. And he says, that's the example I want you to follow. Follow Christ and what? Love. And what do we get? when we do that. Let's go to Psalm 37. Psalm 37, verses 7 and 8. This is a psalm of David. And you know David's life. Were there some times that David didn't follow this? Yes. Were there sometimes that David hated? Yeah. Were there sometimes that David took vengeance? Yeah. Were there sometimes he held a grudge? Probably the most destructive is the one he held against his own son Absalom. Refused to forgive him for what he did, which ended up all kinds of problems. So yeah. In fact, the Bible's riddled with people who did this, didn't they? Jonah. Why didn't he go to Nineveh? I hate those people. Remember James and John? When the Samaritans refused to let Jesus come into the town? What was their solution? Let's bring fire and brimstone down, Jesus. Let's just get those people. What did Jesus say? No. Stop it. It's not what we're here for. People hold grudges? What did David learn, though? Psalm 37, starting verse 7. Rest in the Lord. Where can we find rest? When we feel that anger coming up inside of us, when we feel just that wrath and that bitterness and coming inside of us, know that it is not good. And find rest where? Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for Him. God will take care of it. Whatever injustice, whatever terrible thing, however you've been wrong, God will take care of it in the end. Wait patiently for Him to take care of it, and you let go. Fret not thyself because of him who prospers in his ways, because of the man who brings wicked devices to pass. We look out in this world, and we see those who are doing horrible, horrible things, and they got a lot of money. They got big cars and big houses, and they're rolling along, and they've got power, and they've got influence. We sit there and say, oh, I'm so angry. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Don't fret yourself over that. And there's many going out in many evil devices. They're doing horrible, horrible things, promoting terrible, terrible things, horrible ideas, horrible sins. What does He say? Fret not yourself. Don't worry your pretty little head. It's going to be okay. Wait on the Lord. Rest in Him. Cease from, what's that word? Anger. And forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. Can we get there in our life? If we rest in who? So, when you feel the anger coming, you just read something, you just heard something, you just thought of something, and you feel that anger, that wrath boiling up inside, first tell yourself, this is not what God wants for me. This is not what God wants for me. And instead, turn to the Lord and say, I will not fret over this. I'm not going to let this linger. I'm giving it to you, Lord. Remove this from me. Do not let the sun go down on this anger. Give me your peace. And will He? Yeah. You say, but they're getting away with it. Patiently wait on the Lord. He will take care of it. Okay? Let Him do His job. You do your job. And what is our job? Instead of hate, love. Instead of vengeance, blessing. Do good to them. And instead of grudges, forgiveness. Realize how freeing this is? I just want you to think about those times in your life where you've just let anger just boil and boil and boil, and just all you thought about, couldn't sleep. Wouldn't it have been nice to be able to let that go? Let it go. From now on, let it go. Be free from that destructive anger and let God handle it.